River Valley Network, I am excited to share another encouragement with you. It's not something we did a lot of in the past, but I'm feeling extra excited in 2023 and really just wanted to share this. I shared this with our network team at a meeting, and I just felt like it was something I wanted to share with everyone in the network, and I hope you get something out of it. But I know we record a lot of podcast episodes, and we're always talking, but I don't always get a chance to share with you guys directly. And I am a pastor after all, and so if it feels like I am preaching to you, I don't apologize, because I don't get to preach as much as I used to when I was a young adult pastor. I was preaching all the time, and now I don't preach as much. And so here's my outlet to get to do that. Hopefully it encourages you. And really, it was something that God was speaking to me a lot over this new year. And the title of this, or really the theme of this, is don't be content with what isn't complete. And the root of this came from our Kingdom Builders goal, and many of you guys have been sharing even with us recently, or we've been texting about it or emailing, or we have a report, and all these things that we're sharing about exciting things happening within Kingdom Builders. But we had a goal to hold the gains, and I know we did an episode on it early last year talking about the $10.4 million that we raised through Kingdom Builders, which is mind-boggling and crazy, and every day we're just really asking God, like, why do you allow us to steward this much? But we're blown away by it. And I remember thinking back at that time, and even sharing on that episode, about how amazing God was and what He did, and it was miraculous. Our goal was 7.5 million, and we raised 10.4. And so we were over the moon, ecstatic. It was incredible. And so this year, Pastor Rob, my dad, he put another goal to hold the gains. Hey, we made such a huge jump, so let's hold the gains. Let's do 10 million again. And so as we were going into October and November, that's generally the time of year where the bulk of our giving comes in, we were getting into December, and we were around $8 million. And we were thinking, wow, $8 million is pretty good. I mean, again, the numbers are crazy to even think about, but we were satisfied with our goal and just kind of felt like, I mean, maybe we didn't fully hold the $10 million gains, but I mean, 8.3 would be awesome. And then as it started to rise more, we're like, I mean, 9 would be incredible. And then on Christmas Eve, we announced that it was 9.4 million. And we're like, maybe we hit it, maybe we don't, but either way, it's amazing. And here's what started to happen. We started making excuses for what was going on. Again, with the attitude of being content, but we were like, well, in 2021, the economy was actually really good and really strong. And so you had a lot of gifts because of that. And, we did have a building to purchase with our city campus that really isn't on the list this year. And so that was a big jump. And I just remember we were kind of starting to talk about things, again, not in a way that was diminishing what God did, but almost trying to explain why it was 10.4 million. But again, last year, we would have told you it wasn't because of the economy. It wasn't because of the building. It was because God did something amazing in our church. But how often are we so victims of that mentality that we're, well, it's not what we thought, but we're going to be content because God wants us to be content after all. And that's really a virtue, to be content with what we have. But here's what God was speaking to me. Don't be content with what isn't complete. Don't decide on God's behalf what you're going to be content with when there's still an opportunity for it to be resolved, or for your goal to be met, or whatever it is. Maybe you're praying for something. I know my wife and I, we're praying for something. There's probably things that you're praying for in your church, whether it be church growth, whether it be giving, whether it be personal things, family, all sorts of things that you're praying and believing for. And what we often do is we almost make a deal with God. Like, all right, this is good enough. And the analogy I thought of, there's a couple ones, but one that I shared with the network team is, imagine an artist and they're painting this amazing piece. And about halfway through, you say, hey, that's good. I'll take it then. It's like, wait, what do you mean? I'm not done yet. Well, no, but it's beautiful, and it's good enough to go on my wall that I want it on. I know I asked you to do this, but it's good enough, it's beautiful, and I want to take it right now. An artist would look at you like, are you crazy? My work isn't done yet. And how do we know a work is done? At the bottom of most art pieces, you'll see a signature or initials or something. And it's not just to claim their work, but it's to say, this is complete. And as we all know in art, it's hard to know when is art complete. Because again, I think it's beautiful halfway through, but the artist knows when it's complete. And that maybe is a difficult thing for artists to do because they're always working on it. But once that signature is on it, it lets everyone else know, I made this and it's done. And now you can look at it and you can appreciate the work that it is. And so as looking back to the Kingdom Builders example, I was thinking about this and saying we were content with 8.4, with 9.2, 9.4, whatever the number was going to be. But God had given the goal at the beginning of the year to have $10 million. And we were deciding almost before the year was over that we were going to be content with a smaller number. Now, again, I don't think it's wrong that if we would have got to January 1st and the number would have been 8.5, 9.4, we would have celebrated it. We would have been thrilled with what God did. But we were starting to make excuses, and we were starting to almost grab the piece of work before it was completed. And so finishing off the story, as the year goes on, the final few days of the year, this just happened recently, we started seeing money come in, and we actually reached our goal. We not only reached it of 10 million, we exceeded it, and we beat last year's goal, and so we were at 10.6 million. And we're obviously just blown away by what God did, and so many of us are realizing like we didn't doubt God, but we were like content with him not reaching what we knew he asked us to do. And again, if we get there, and we're always going to celebrate. There's been years where we haven't reached our goal, but I was just thinking about this. God doesn't want you to be content with what's not complete. And thinking about what I'm praying for, what I'm believing for, what I'm trusting God for. If we said, all right, God, I've been trusting you for this for 4 years. I've been trusting you for this for 10 years. And I'm just going to be content and okay with what you've given me now. And I'm not going to desire it anymore. I'm not going to pray for it anymore. I'm not going to seek it anymore. And I think God is asking us to continue to press in, to continue to pray until the deadline is over. We should continue to have faith and believe that God's going to do what he's promised us. God's going to answer our prayers. God's going to meet our needs. And of course, we're going to be satisfied. Again, we are the clay and he is the potter. Who are we to question? But I think of Mark 8 in the man healed in Bethsaida. He's washing Jesus spits in the mud and he washes his eyes with mud and he says, what do you see? And he said, I see men moving like trees and it's not quite there yet. Could you imagine if he said this, stop. This is more than I've ever seen before. This is good enough. Thank you, Jesus. Appreciate you. No, Jesus then put his hands on him and then he said, do it one more time. And then he washes it and he can see perfectly clear. And I think there's a lot of us that get stuck in the trap, especially leading churches and having visions and having goals and desires where we feel like, well, this is good enough in the midst of what we're going through. And so I just want to encourage you all with this word is don't be content with what's not complete. If the vision for your church, the vision for your community, the vision for your generosity, the vision for your family, God is doing so much. And until our time comes for us to meet him face to face, we're going to continue to have faith. We're going to continue to believe. We're going to trust him with everything, but we're going to believe in faith, knowing that God can do what only he can do. And I was talking to one of our missionaries about this, again, talking something personally that we're believing for and saying, I'm going to pray without reservation, knowing that God can do anything. What we're asking for, he can do it in a moment. But I'm also going to pray with complete trust, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said. And even if he does not, we will continue to worship him and we will not bow down. So I just wanted to encourage you all, really a lesson that we learned over this past year with Kingdom Builders. Again, with a miraculous goal. Every time we share it, we're always blown away. But just want you to be encouraged to know that what you're believing for in your church, what you're believing for in your family, what you're believing for in the ministry you lead, with the teams you lead, God is not finished with it until he says so. And we need to listen to that. We need to trust him in that and believe in faith. We as a network are here cheering you on. We're excited for all God is going to do in 2023 and just want you to know that God is for you. He's on your side. He's with you in every endeavor that you're going through. And ultimately, he gets the glory for it. So if you need anything, we're here in your corner. Hope to see you guys soon in an event coming up. We have podcasts coming out. We got all these amazing guests that are happening, but wanted you to be encouraged with this and hope you got something out of it. Thanks so much.